Hi, folks. Welcome to the Ivy Boys podcast presented by Rebecca Lewis of Coldwell Banker Gundecker, 314-369-9680, RebeccaSellsDreams.com. I am your host, Chipper Lewis, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Joel Fry. Joel, I love that song. I love the Dropkick Murphys.
Pumps me up, man.
Yeah.
Lets me know that it's showtime. So,
exactly.
Yeah, and if that wasn't enough, the fact that it's July 30th, and we've got the trade deadline tomorrow, and even though not a whole lot has happened so far, the Cubs did make one move just a little while ago, earlier today, as of the live shooting of this show. So maybe that'll portend greater things tomorrow. We'll see.
Yes, they got a reliever. We have a rundown right before me, but I'm okay with getting out of sync here in a minute, a little out of thing, because that is kind of breaking news. It's only been 2-3 hours since that has broken.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead and start the timer. Let's move that trade deadline part up in the rundown, and let's start there. Okay, so the Cubs did get David Phelps from the Toronto Blue Jays. David Phelps is coming off of Tommy John surgery. He has 17 appearances with the Blue Jays this year. I think it's like a 3.61 ERA or 3.88 ERA, something like that. It's not very good, but then again, it's only 17 innings. Joel, they gave up Hatch, their one of their prospects, who didn't really have a very high ceiling. What are your thoughts on this trade?
It's just depth. It's not really all that much that's going to – now, okay, I felt this way about Jesse Chavez last year, where I had to go to Baseball Reference to really get a good idea of who the guy was. And after I saw, just what his peripherals were, checked his slash line and his stats, I was a little underwhelmed. And then he comes in and pitches great and is a much higher leverage player than you would ever expect him to have to be. And he was terrific. This year, Phelps, 17 and a third innings, 3.63 ERA. Since he's gone to the bullpen, he's been a much better pitcher in his career, which I'll pull that up here in just a little bit. He struggled early in his career as a starter. And what happens to failed starters? They become relievers. And since moving to the bullpen, much better player this year. It looks like he could provide some value for the Cubs. In his career, a 3.36 ERA as a reliever, a 1.28 WHIP, and frankly, he just needs to be a guy that gets people out. I'm going to look up his. Sometimes with trades like this, especially with the Cubs, it is something you're not looking at, because something like a peripheral number is something that really appeals to the Cubs. And so I'm going to look through here and see if there's anything that he is exceptionally good at. Kind of like how the Cubs got Derek Holland because he's not giving up anything to lefties this year.
Right.
Or how the Cubs signed Tyler Chatwood because his numbers appeared to show that he would be effective in Wrigley Field because of his ground ball rate and everything else. That hasn't played out, but we'll see how this one does. So I'm okay with it. I guess on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably put it at about a 4.5 to 5.5 on my excitement scale. I mean, if the Cubs believe in it, then I'll go along with them until I'm proven otherwise.
I mean, when you texted me that trade was coming through, I sent what was it, Adam Sandler thumbs down with a. But the more I look at it, I did not know David Phelps was coming off of Tommy John surgery. B, I did not know it was in 17 innings. I was just going off of the first stats I saw on Baseball Reference. The one thing I don't like about him, and it's the same thing with Brandon Kinsler last year, he doesn't. The swing and miss rate is low when it comes to them. But just like Kinsler, he's a ground ball pitcher. He puts the ball on the ground. Now the reason he's had issues this year is because he has only pitched 17 innings, and when you give up like 3 runs in 17 innings, that's not good. Your ERA is going to skyrocket. Sorry, I dropped something. And so it's they're hoping like you said, they're getting what's the phrase I'm looking, something in a bottle.
Lightning in a bottle.
Lightning in a bottle. They're hoping they get lightning in the bottle like they did with Jesse Chavez last year.
Here's what the Cubs are looking at. I can confidently say what it is the Cubs are looking at that makes them feel really good about David Phelps. He pitched like garbage at the Rogers Center. They're hoping that once he gets out of that environment, he's going to be a much better pitcher. Here are his home numbers this year. A 5.79 ERA. In 9 innings, he has given up 3 home runs. He has walked 4, struck out 11, a 1.39 whip. On the road, he has a 1.13 ERA in 8 innings pitched. He's given up 1 run in 8 innings. All 3 of his home runs allowed this season are at home at the Rogers Center. Get him out of there, and he's going to be much more effective. That's what Jed and Theo are banking on right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Rogers Center is basically Coors North. Coors Field North, right? I mean, I said that in a video earlier this morning, which, by the way, like and subscribe to this YouTube page so you will get notifications when videos like that pop up, especially tomorrow. But, yeah, I said that in a video that, yeah, Rogers Center definitely plays small. It's very Coors Field-esque. And so, I mean, I guess that kind of explains Jose Bautista, right? Kind of, maybe, why Jose Bautista hit so many home runs a few years ago, because he played 81 games at the Rogers Center, kind of like, who's that guy? Oh, yeah, Nolan Arenado plays 81 games at Coors Field. I think every podcast I have to take a shot at Nolan Arenado, right? I mean, it just seems like that's a trend, and it just works itself in. I don't purposely sit here and say I have to and think, well, how can I work him in? It just kind of happens because it's all true. Rogers Centers play small, so hopefully Jed and Theo are right here. You found a guy in the bargain bin. You gave up his first name escapes me. Is it Thomas Hatch?
I'll look it up here.
You gave up Hatch, who's in the Cubs' top 30 prospects. I think he was number 25, 26, something like that. Hatch's ceiling was basically a fifth starter, long reliever. Kind of like what they have on Alec Mills, but I like to think Alec Mills has a shot to be a number 3 in the future with some kind of rotation, if not with the Chicago Cubs. Do you agree there?
He's a good pitcher. Yeah, I like Alec Mills.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see here. Mills is 27, and he's pitched fine in 2 starts so far this season. He's been a good stopgap guy in the 2 appearances he's made, and as a Cub, in 28 career innings, he's had a 4 ERA. So yeah, number 3, number 4 starter. That's what he kind of plays out to be.
All right, timer's going off, but it's the trade deadline. So I'm going to add another 7 minutes to the segment because that was my plan. The trade deadline segment was going to be 14, but we jumped ahead of the rundown, moved it up. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the timer again. Another 7 minutes is going to happen. So David Phelps, I'm going to ask you, Joel, are the Cubs done?
You mean are they
done at the
trades?
Trade deadline? Is that it?
No, they will add 1 more player to their big league roster. I don't know who. It's difficult because you kind of hope the Cubs don't completely deplete the minor league system. I mean, who's off? Like Amaya apparently is probably off limits. Nico is off limits, but you're going to need to prize
I'm gonna
the
stop you right there. Why is Amaya off limits?
off limits because um, Contreras is what 27. So you don't know how many more years he has catching. I mean, is Victor Carantini your guy of the future? I think Amaya is going to be the guy of the future, and I think that future is within the next 3 years.
But do you see Contreras still on the Cubs in 3 years then?
Excellent question. I mean, who knows how next year is going to go? If the Cubs are buyers at the trade deadline again, which I certainly hope they are, they might try to maximize him. If you're going to trade Contreras, now would be the best time to do it because he is probably at the peak of his powers right now.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. I mean, you can make the argument that Contreras is the best catcher in baseball right now. So you're saying that you think in 3 years that there's a chance that the Cubs don't have the best catcher in baseball on their team?
I am I'm torn there. Okay. The question was in 3 years will Will Contreras be on the Cubs?
Yes, that
I'm
was
going to say
that
no.
was the question. You're going to say no.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, so you're saying Miguel Amaya ceiling is better. I just want to make sure I'm getting this clear. Miguel Amaya's ceiling is higher than what Wilson Contreras is.
His positional value will be close enough to Contreras that they won't be willing to pay Contreras and will instead go with Amaya. When Contreras by then
Wow.
is 29 or 30 years old. He's 27 right now.
I mean, can you say bombshell from Joel Fry?
I don't think it's a bombshell to
I
say
think
that
it is
they're
because
not going to see value in a guy who's 30 years old at that point at that position.
I think it is because you see catchers when they're, you know, the best catcher in baseball. You know, when you think best catcher in baseball in the last 15 years, who comes to mind?
Probably Buster Posey.
Okay, Buster Posey. To me, of course, living in St. Louis, it's Yachty. That's all I hear about.
Which is fair, and you know what?
Absolutely fair.
I'm not going to tell anybody who thinks that Yadier Molina is the best catcher in baseball over the last decade that they're completely off base. I understand that.
Yes, absolutely. Another one that comes to mind, extremely underrated as a catcher, is Salvador Perez of the Kansas City Royals.
Okay.
But the trend there is that they're with their teams pretty much for their whole careers. So you're saying Wilson Contreras, who has the possibility to be better than all three of those guys in a 10-year span, but you know the possibility definitely is there that he won't be with his original club in arguably 3 years.
Yeah, and also I don't think he's going to be better than Buster Posey offensively. At this time in Posey's career, I mean, age-wise, he was starting to wind down a little bit. His power was leaving him at the age of 28, and you know, when a catcher goes, they go. I would have to
that's
look
true.
and I'd have to look through and see what the career arc is for these guys, but without looking into it too much, I just don't know how many more great years Contreras has in him. You're going to maximize his next 2 seasons, I think, and then from there, I do think he's expendable after, at the very least, 2021, if not after next season.
You know, that's interesting thought is like, are the Cubs going to get the best years right now of Wilson Contreras, and then hopefully Miguel Amaya steps in and they don't skip a beat? That's what you're hoping you see, correct?
Yep, that's exactly right.
I mean, I of course wouldn't hate that. I mean, if we get the best years of Wilson Contreras, like Albert Pujols with the St. Louis Cardinals, they got the best years of Albert Pujols. 10 years, $100 million. It was a steal. MVP every year, and then he goes to LA Angels and hasn't been the exact same Pujols. So Cardinal fans can't be too upset because they literally got the best of Pujols. So it's kind of like that. It's a comparison is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's a fair comparison too. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's just that with a catcher, I mean, I'm not convinced that he's going to be that good for that long. Not to say that I don't appreciate him on the team, and he isn't incredibly valuable while he's this good of a hitter. You just kind of wonder how long he's going to be that good of a hitter.
Okay. All right. I have a question before time runs out here on the trade deadline. A couple actually. We'll go over on our time. Are the Cubs carrying 3 catchers Thursday?
Ye- mm, okay, this is more of a bombshell in my mind. I will say no. They are not carrying three catchers by Friday.
Okay.
Is that what you said by Friday?
Thursday.
Thursday. They are not catching three. They are not carrying three catchers.
Okay, so Wilson's not gone. Who's going?
I've heard Maldonado's name dangled out there. I wonder if that isn't part of what they're trying to do, is just have him be trade fodder for another deal.
Okay. So the next question is, so my guy that I wanted at the deadline is not available anymore. Ken Giles. Nobody is going to touch him because he apparently has issues with his elbow, and he is shut down till after the deadline, and so he'll be more of an off-season acquisition if someone's going to trade him. So are you? I forget, and I'm sorry that I forget about last week's show. Who's your
That's
one
okay.
guy that you said? Will Smith, didn't you?
I sure did.
Okay. Do you think that's still going to happen?
No. Even though I've heard that Cubs scouts have been out there, a lot of different scouts have been out there watching Smith play, and also, I mean, for crying out loud, the Cubs just saw Will Smith, so
Right.
they certainly got a good idea of what he brings to the table. I think the Cubs, if they're going to add somebody, it's going to be a position player. I'm just not sure who at this point. It would be nice to have Will Smith, but getting Derek Holland, I think, to me, indicated they are probably done getting looking for that lefty guy. That's their value pick, was Derek Holland.
Do you think the David Phelps trade makes Kinsler your eighth inning guy?
I think that Strope's injury makes Kinsler the eighth inning guy.
Okay.
That's what does it for me.
Pedro
Is the fact
Strop
that
did-
Pedro Strop isn't available.
Right. Pedro Strop hit the 10-day DIL right now. Dwayne Underwood Jr., who both you and I have talked about in trades for the Cubs, has been recalled. He is with the club right now here in St. Louis for tonight's game. He is available, by the way. David
What if he
Phelps is
throws
not.
one electric inning tonight and then he gets dealt tomorrow?
What do
That'd
you
be
mean,
pretty
dealt
crazy.
like to the Arizona Diamondbacks as a package for David Peralta?
That's an
Hey.
interesting idea.
I love that move. I would love David Peralta on this team. He gets on base. He's a guy who could hit second. I know the Cubs are looking for a leadoff hitter, but I do believe that you could pretty much put anybody at leadoff as long as somebody in the first two positions can get on base. Look at the lineup tonight. You have Robel Garcia, you have Jason Hayward, and then you have the power of Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, and the Baez hitting fifth. So
That'd be pretty sweet.
So you have Hayward lead off and Peralta hit second. What's wrong with that? Peralta has a 356 on base percentage this year. Why would you not want that at the top of your lineup?
Well, knowing that Ben Zobrist is coming back, is that somebody who you think maybe has just found money at that point, and you don't go for David Peralta knowing that Zoe is back? This team could look very different, even with their own guys, rejoining the major league roster. What if Brandon Morrow is a guy who is back by September 1st? Not saying that'll happen.
Right.
98% chance it doesn't. But if Theo and Jed know something, that might inform their decisions at the break today and tomorrow, because Zobrist coming back. I mean, they might be counting on him being healthy. You can't really assume anything. He was having a bad year, but he might also be very well rested.
Yeah.
And you know that he's going to want to use that baseball as a distraction from everything else that's going on with him.
Absolutely.
So I think without a doubt, is going to be a guy who they can count on from day one, or they're going to count on.
And I feel like Ben Zobrist could be a leadoff hitter.
He could be a leadoff hitter, and also he's a guy who comes back in and plays some second base. He adds depth at a position that you sorely need it. And that gives you a chance. I don't like David Bodie at shortstop. I don't hate it as much as a lot of people seem to, aka the Cubs don't seem to like David Bodie at shortstop. But he, right now you don't really have a backup shortstop on the roster that you can feel good about.
I would
so
much rather see Robel Garcia at least get a shot at shortstop
I'm
before
gonna
David Bodie. Before David Bodie.
Okay, well, if the Cubs pull, if the Cubs win their next 10 games and end up, uh, having a 5 game lead in the Central, yeah, okay, put Garcia in there at short, see what he does. I did like a quote from Joe who said Garcia is more adept at second base than he had initially been led to believe. And so he does like his defense more than he thought he was going to. So maybe that does bode well for him being a solid shortstop at some point. Who
Yes.
knows?
Yes. So, I mean, so come September 1st, you could have what? David Peralta, technically, in my mind, this is not, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. You got David Peralta in right, Hayward in center, Schwarber in left. You got Bryant, Baez, a combination of Robel Garcia and Ben Zobrist at second base, and then Rizzo at first, Contreras catching.
And Descalzo on the injured list still.
Descalzo being DFA'd.
We'll see what happens.
Because maybe he gets traded back to Arizona. Have we ever thought about that?
No, because Arizona probably knew what they were losing. They were probably fully aware that this was going to happen.
Most likely.
They had in-town smart with him. That's
Yes.
why a contract wasn't offered to him.
Yes. Would you
Also,
hate that lineup, though?
No, I wouldn't hate it. I would like it a lot. That's a lineup that can compete. Here's the thing: just win the Central, get
Just
into the
win the
playoffs,
Central.
and then see what happens.
Yep.
You are on paper, the Cubs are not as good as the Dodgers are, but everyone else they can at least compete with, if not exceed, from a lineup talent standpoint. And the pitching rotation. If Yu Darvish is great, and I'm hoping he just kills it tonight. Is it weird that I'm a little buzzing about Yu Darvish pitching tonight? Like I'm kind of excited. I think he's gonna pitch great.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's gonna have a great game tonight.
I hope so. I hope you're right. I mean, he had a stinker last time, but before that, he was pitching really, really good.
Yeah, and his stinker was giving up 1 run in the second and 3 runs in the third, and then pitching lights out for the last 3 innings he was in there. So
I guess it shows that he very well could be pitched really, really well tonight.
You know what I liked about that is that he righted the ship. And that's something that we don't normally see from Darvish. If he goes off the rails, he's throwing 100 pitches through 4 innings and walking everybody. But he got right back on the horse after a couple of home runs given up, and he finished strong. And that's mentally a side of Darvish that I hadn't seen before. So
Right.
I like knowing that that's in there, and hopefully that's something that he can carry into the start tonight.
Okay. We have to switch subjects. I'm sorry. We have gone way past our time.
Okay.
This is the Avi Boys podcast presented by Rebecca Lewis of Coldwell Banker Gundecker, 314-369-9680, RebeccaSellsDreams.com. All right. Cubs lost 2 out of 3 to Milwaukee, but they easily could have swept them if they didn't pitch Pedro Strop and had actually done better in the bullpen. But who am I to criticize Joe Madden, according to him today?
I don't have any problem with him saying what he said.
I don't either, but doesn't it frustrate you that, like, you could see that Stropey has lost 2 to 3 miles per hour on his fastball. So why are you putting him out there?
I know that. I mean, Joe has had that next play mentality before, though. He has had guys go out and just try to right the ship. The best thing you can do, and this is from Madden himself and a lot of people who know baseball, the best thing you can do after a reliever gives up 3 runs or loses a game is get them out there for the next game. And it might just be a situation where Joe was wanting to get Stropey out there because he has had a few bad innings in a row. And Joe has seen Strop now for
4 years?
5 years.
5 years?
And yeah, this is the 5th year that Joe has been his manager. And you know what? I mean, this is the first year that Strop has truly struggled as a pitcher for the Cubs. You've got a long history of success from him, and Joe knows that. And I do feel like Joe just figured by law of averages, Strop was going to have a great inning. And once you get that first great inning and you get that confidence going, confidence is real for relief pitchers. If you don't think so, look at Carl Edwards Jr. Look what lack of confidence does, and tell me that confidence doesn't matter on the positive side.
I get that. I get that. But there's a difference between confidence and 3 mile per hour less on your fastball. There's a difference between 95 and 92.
You're 100% right, and I think from that standpoint, you're 100% correct. Now, it came out that it looked like it was going to be that it was. I don't know if it was Phantom IL, and they just wanted to get him right and get him some rest or what. But I guess his neck was hurting him or something.
Yeah, but
maybe
he said that he said he heard that in long toss on Sunday before the game. There's no way. There's no way. He was hurt before that. You don't lose 3 miles per hour without something being wrong.
Right. And he didn't just magically get old
Exactly.
like that. You don't
Exactly.
lose when you get old, you lose like 1 mile an hour, even 0.8. Like you look at Quintana, his spin rate and his velocity. That's what aging starts to look like. It's incremental. It's not a dramatic fall. Like you broke your leg or tore your ACL or something. He's not right. He's not right.
No, and like you said, it's not aging because before somebody hit a home run against him in the series, the first out he got was on a curveball, a slurve that looked amazing. He got a strikeout, and then he gave up all those runs.
Yep.
Then the Cubs lost, and the Cubs had a lead, 7th inning and beyond in all 3 of those games. And yet they still lost 2 out of 3.
The Cubs have had a lead in all 15 games since the All-Star break.
I know. That's that. And look, you don't expect to win all those games. Blown leads are going to happen, but this many, especially in one series, 2 games in one series, in a huge series. Imagine if the Cubs had actually held on at least to another one of those games, if not swept the Brewers this past week.
And yet the Cubs. Oh, okay. So the Cubs are 9-6 in those 15 games. I mean, I could imagine if you told me the Cubs led every one of 15 games after the break, I would have guessed their record to be 11-4. So they're probably playing 2, maybe 3 games worse than what you would expect based on them leading every game. They're 2-4 on this road trip. They win 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals. They go 4-5 on the road. Not what you wanted. You were hoping for maybe a 5-4 road trip. And if the Cubs sweep the Cardinals, then they are 5-4, and they have a pretty big lead in the Central all of a sudden.
Yeah.
At least over the Cardinals. We'll see what the Brewers do as well. But it's, gosh, that's the thing about this time of year when you're competing and you're tied for a division lead, and you've got so many games left against guys in your division. You can turn this around quickly. I don't know if the Cubs have the firepower for it, but I also don't know if they don't have the firepower for it. The starting pitching has been really good. The offense, look at Chris Bryant. He has been killing the ball in July. Schwarber has 6 home runs this month. He would be on pace over 162 games to hit 60 home runs if you look at his July. Rizzo is batting .340 in July. All these guys are hitting so well. They're just not stringing hits together all that consistently. What's messed up is the Cubs have a positive run differential on the road over this stretch. It's because they have a couple of blowout wins, but just
right.
You look at all the peripheral numbers, the Cubs should be so much better than they are. On the road, they're just putrid. They're closer, in my mind, to the team you see at home, the 36-18 world beaters. They're closer to that in reality than they are this road team. So
I agree with you. 100%. It's frustrating that they outscored the Brewers by like 5-6 runs this series and lost 2 out of 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the frustration is coming from. Easily. Is because of, look, Craig Kimbrell gave up 2 home runs in the 9th inning. I still think the Kimbrell signing was a great signing. I love that we didn't give up a draft pick for him.
Mm-hmm.
That was going to happen at some point, that he was going to blow a save like that. Correct?
Correct.
He went up against Christian Yelich first off. Christian Yelich is an advocate. He's the Nolan Arenado of Milwaukee. Hits amazing at home, but away he's not so good. But they were at home, and Christian Yelich hit. Oh my gosh, how annoyed were you with the opposite field home run by Christian Yelich?
it was tough to stomach, but also in that ballpark, home runs are pretty easy to hit.
Yes, they are. It's a field box. Look at Schwarber in the last game of the
That's
series.
100%
7
right. Yep.
RBIs and 2 at bats for Kyle Schwarber.
Yep.
I'm
Although that grand slam was the longest grand slam ever hit during the Statcast era. So
What was it? 430.
473.
473. 473.
Yep. It's the kind of home run you expected Schwarber to hit 30 of a year when he came up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, we're done talking about Milwaukee. It's just annoyingness.
One more thing, real quick, before we
Yes.
move on to our next topic.
Yes, sir.
I had heard that Charlie Blackmon is getting shopped, and I think the Braves are a favorite for him. Whoever wants Charlie Blackmon, good luck with that. Look at his home road splits and tell me he isn't the biggest product of Coors Field you've ever seen.
Bigger than Nolan Arenado.
Much bigger.
Yeah.
Dramatically bigger.
Yeah, it's a shame. It really is because Charlie Blackmon seems like a great guy.
Charlie Blackmon is Albert Almora on the road.
Ooh.
When you get a chance, look up his slash line on the road. He hits 247 with a 679 OPS. At home, he hits 415 this
Ugh.
year.
That's just gross.
It is gross.
That's gross.
So he's one guy I do not want the Cubs to get.
No.
And whoever does get him, you just made good. Congratulations, you just got worse.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he gets traded tomorrow, by the way. There's no way. I mean, it would cost a haul, and you have to have the flexibility with your budget and stuff like that, which apparently the Cubs don't have.
They don't. But you know what? If you trade for him, you're dumb.
Exactly. Dumb. Hot take. You trade for Charlie Blackmon, you're dumb. Ivy Boys Podcast, hot take. This is the Ivy Boys Podcast presented by Rebecca Lewis of Coldwell Banker Gundecker. 314-369-9680 or RebeccaSellsDreams.com. All right. Cubs open up a crucial 3-game series against Boring Town St. Louis Cardinals.
Are you going to any of the games?
I'm going tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll be
Great.
there tomorrow for Kyle Hendricks. Last time I saw Kyle Hendricks here in St. Louis, he took a no-hitter to the 9th inning.
You were at that game, huh?
I was at that game. It was amazing.
Joe got tossed in that game, I
He
think.
did get tossed. There were Cardinal fans who left in the 7th inning because they weren't real baseball fans.
That means they were Cardinal fans.
Exactly. Best fans in baseball. Get out of here with that statement. Anyways, Boring Town, USA, St. Louis. Cubs are here for 3. Crucial. Tied with the Cardinals for first place. I'm surprised I didn't see any moves yesterday to have, for instance, David Phelps available starting tonight. But it is what it is. Cardinals really didn't. They got Zach Rosscup, former Cub, Zach Rosscup from the Dodgers for basically nothing, which is fine
remember
because
him.
he's down in Memphis. Anyways, their AAA team. So going into the series, Joel, it is here in St. Louis on the road. Are you worried that the Cardinals are going to be up 1 or 2 games after this series?
Well, they're not going to be up 2 games. They can either be up 1 game or up 3.
True.
If they're going to
True.
be
I
up.
meant to say 3.
So I sure hope they're not up 3.
Yes.
So here's the thing. Let's say the Cubs win today. They're up a game. How much does your perception of this team change going into the absolute deadline if they win or lose tonight? Think about how weird that is, by the way. The Cubs played 105 games this season, and tonight could be a pivotal one road or the other as far as the confidence of the team goes. And honestly, I do think that if the Cubs – and I mean like with bringing reinforcements in. You win tonight, you're a game up going into the deadline. Maybe you're more inclined to stay put. You're a game down. You're still close. And I wonder if Theo and Jed don't offer one more piece for somebody who they're on the fence about getting.
I think that since we're so close to the deadline, we're under 24 hours, that Theo and Jed have already had the discussions with the trade that they're going to make tomorrow.
I'm sure you're right.
And the players have been discussed, and I don't think it's going to matter if they trade out one player for another. I think we're to the point that this trade is, I don't want to say almost done, but it's definitely getting there to the point where tonight, no matter what happens, isn't really going to matter. I don't think the Cubs pull back either if they win. I think the trade that they have worked out with whoever it is, could be Arizona, could be Detroit, we don't know. Whoever it is, that trade is going to happen tomorrow no matter what the outcome is.
Okay, well, as a fan, I know that tonight is going to weigh heavily on what I think of this team and whether or not they should
Yes.
be a buyer or a seller. As a total meathead fanboy, that's kind of where I am. Now, if the Cubs are down 3 games after this series is over, heaven forbid, um, I just I don't know what else you can do. I mean, the Cardinals are playing really good baseball right now, and the Cubs are a 600 winning percentage team since the All-Star break. I want to stress that again.
Right.
They have won at a 60% clip. That is a 97 win pace. Is how the Cubs have been playing since the All-Star game, and it's 15 games. That's 10% of the season. That's a decent size. It's just that on the road you feel so bad about things. So. Yeah. If you can just keep it close, if you can keep it within a game or two going into some home series and then do your job at home like you have been, you feel a lot better about things.
That's because the Cubs do come home after this series.
That's right. They come home against the Brewers and might be able to make this a very different story.
Absolutely. Theoretically, they win at least one game in this series. You're down by one game going into the Milwaukee series. The Cardinals have... anyways, you have Milwaukee for the Cubs at home, which the Cubs we all know are better. So the Cubs easily could take 2 out of 3, if not sweep the Brewers, technically. And the Cardinals go to Oakland. Oakland is, of course, no pushover, and plus you're playing in Oakland. The Cardinals could lose 2 out of 3. So now you're looking at, after Sunday, that the Cubs could easily be back in first place, even if they lose 2 out of 3 here in St. Louis.
It'd be nice if the Cubs had just left St. Louis in first place. That's the
goal.
Absolutely. Here's my worry, and I say this now. Watch, we'll talk next Tuesday, and I will feel fantastic because the Cubs won 5 of their last 6 games between you and I talking now and then.
Be amazing.
And suddenly I feel great. But I don't foresee a situation where the Cubs are comfortably in a lead at any point between now and like the last weekend of the season. I mean, I don't know what the biggest
comfortable
lead they
for you.
Comfortable is 4 or more games.
Okay, so you don't see any scenario where there are going to be 4 or more games over.
No, and I hope I'm wrong. Obviously, I hope they're 8 games up on September 1st, but it's just not going to happen. The Cardinals are better than. The difference between the Cubs and Cardinals isn't that high. The Brewers should just fall apart. They're a weirdly constructed team that have a couple of good players, and Low Kane isn't hitting that well this season.
Right, and they have no starting pitching.
Right, so I don't feel good about that. And the guy they just picked up from Pittsburgh gets throttled by the Cubs on a daily basis.
Not only the Cubs, the Cardinals hit him very, very well also.
Yeah, so they basically try to make themselves worse. But then again, I thought that about Mike Moustakas too. I thought they got Moustakas, and I went, "Oh, well, then now they're not as good."
I didn't think that way for Moose because Kansas City. I knew he was a good player. I knew he could hit. Now playing him at second base, that's a whole different situation.
That's what I'm talking about. But
I knew he could hit.
Oh well, it's frustrating because I can see the Cubs being down by 4 or 5 games heading into September. I can't see them being up by 4 or 5 games.
So do you think this team has a run in them, though? I'm talking like 9 of the last 10 they've won or 10 of the last 11, something like that. Do you see a run with this team?
I talked about this last week, and I put it on Twitter a while back that through their first 100 games, the Cubs were either 9-10, 10-9, or 10-10, or 11-9, or whatever, through every 20-game increment of the season, except for one where they were 15-5. this team is capable of a run. I mean, this is a 500 ball club that had one big stretch in
Right.
May that has kept them in first place and competitive. But I mean, honestly, most things will show you they're probably a 500 club. They have a run in them, but I wonder how sustainable the run is. And also, I mean, I don't think they're going to win 7 in a row because I don't think the offense is going to be able to put up enough runs for 7 straight games to keep them winning. That said, they've had the lead in all 15 games so far in the second half of the season. So a lot of things show that they can put on a run. I mean, if you lead in every game for that long of a stretch, you would expect to be like 11-4, 12-3, and it's just not. So, I mean, I guess it's your definition of a run, but I think they can win 7 out of 10.
Okay, so last question before we move on, because we're about done here. Are the Cubs the best team in the National League Central?
Yes. Yes, they are. They have the best rotation. They have the most talented lineup. And their guys who need to perform are actually performing very well. Javi, Rizzo, Baez, Contreras, all performing really well. Schwarber has 24 home runs. He might have 35 this season.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
I can't be mad about 35 home runs.
I can't either. Can't either. I mean, an on-base percentage of like 310, but I still can't be mad about 35 home runs.
No, and he's hit better than he's actually had a higher weighted runs created plus in the second half of the season than Chris Bryant. He's been more valuable based on his position at the plate than Bryant has since the All-Star break.
Really quick, wrench question. This is something that I've come up. Ready?
Ready.
Who's the best first baseman in the National League Central?
It's Anthony Rizzo.
Wow. Okay.
Who would you pick? Josh Bell?
No, I would have said Paul Goldschmidt.
Okay, no. Goldschmidt is not the best first baseman in the National League Central.
Okay. Wow. Okay. All right, we disagree on that one, and that's
I'm
fine.
surprised that you're surprised by that.
I
now,
am
we
a little
have 3
bit,
minutes
'cause
left in the
I
show,
think-
and you throw that out here?
I know. I just think Paul Goldschmidt. I do. I mean, I know he struggled this year, but I think I thought that for a while that Paul Goldschmidt was the best first baseman in the game for a long time, even above Joey Votto when Joey Votto had an on-base percentage of like 600 a couple years ago or something like that. It wasn't
Right, but there was
600,
once a time when Vince Coleman was the best base stealer of all time until he wasn't. Paul Goldschmidt was the best first baseman in the NL until he wasn't, and he isn't now.
Okay. Okay. All right. I don't know where I was going to go with that. That was just a question. I was curious. I think I saw MLB put out a tweet about who was better, and I wanted your opinion. By the way, I did vote Rizzo just because so Rizzo could win. I just want to point that out.
So Goldschmidt has 2.1 WAR based on Baseball Reference. Shout out to Baseball Reference.
Baseball Reference.
Rizzo's at 2.6. He has a better batting average. He has fewer home runs, but he has a much better OPS. On base, slugging, everything. His OPS plus is 134. Goldschmidt's is 111. The further away from 100 you are, the better.
Right. Okay. Well, there you go. I was proven wrong. Doesn't happen much, but I guess if anybody's going to do it, it's usually you.
I think that earlier in the show you had a point that proved me wrong about something. I'll have to listen back to the episode. And I was like, point chipper. I will shut up.
So we're even now. Anyways, this is the Ivy Boys podcast brought to you by the MVP realtor of the St. Louis area, Rebecca Lewis of Coldwell Banker Gundecker. 314-369-9680 can answer all your questions related to selling your home fast. I actually know my best friends are moving to Colorado quickly. Like this has happened in the last 3 weeks. They just sold their house because they had Rebecca Lewis of Coldwell Banker Gundecker as their realtor because Rebecca cares. She told them exactly what they needed to do to get their house ready to sell. And you know what? They did it. Rebecca staged it. And it sold within 2 days. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. They're happy with Rebecca. Rebecca, of course, is my mom and my realtor. We're happy with her. Everybody you talk to that has had Rebecca Lewis of Coldwell Banker Gundecker as their realtor leaves happy. They could not imagine anybody else being their realtor except for Rebecca Lewis. And that's why she has so many referrals and returning clients. Rebecca Lewis with Coldwell Banker Gutdecker knows the St. Louis area and can expertly consult you on your area's property values, information about housing trends, and how Coldwell Banker Gutdecker will get your home sold fast. Call Rebecca Lewis at 314-369-9680 to get your home on the market now. That is Rebecca Lewis, 314-369-9680, or right there on the screen, RebeccaSellsDreams.com. All right, we're at the last segment, and everybody knows it. It's beer chug time. It's beer chug time. We all know that. Game time's about to start. Very excited about this. Are you nervous? Are you nervous about the game?
I'm fired up. I think Darvish is going to have a big game tonight.
Okay, good. I'm not nervous. I'm excited. Like, I'm going to be into this game, and my wife's going to hate me. I know she is. She's watching. Sorry, Christy, you're going to absolutely hate me tonight. I'm going to get our daughter saying, "Go Cubs." It's going to be awesome. All right, let's go to the beer chug. Joel, you're at work, so unfortunately you don't have a beer. You're soaking in that fluorescent lights. Me, on the other hand, we start this music up. Again, we do this very quick, so this has to be a quick chug.
Quick chug.
Quick chug.
As opposed to very slow chugs. That's mercy.
That's very Christian Yelich of us, right? All right, I'm pouring my beer right now. All right, so tonight I have another Urban Chestnut Brewery, the second largest microbrewery here in St. Louis, outside of Schlafly's.
Which is an ironic term, by the way, a large microbrewery.
I know it's ironic, but this is their biggest. Second biggest. How about that? Is that better? He throws his hands up. It's their Urban Underdog. It's their American lager. Again, I am a fan of lagers. I like lagers a lot better than IPAs or that crap I drank from Schlafly's the other day. What was it? Hefeweizen? It was horrible. It was just not good. It was not good. It burned. Or how about that beer you had the other day that burned?
It was the Bud Light lemon tea. Yes.
I'm still laughing about that. But anyway, this is their Urban Underdog American Lager. It's really good. It says St. Louis's Unexpected American Lager Prost. So I'm really excited. I've already had a beer with it. I enjoy it. So we'll see how it does in the chug. The taste is really good. We'll see how this goes. So I'm going to turn up the music, and here we go. All right. Cheers. Go Cubs, go. And try not to be bored these next 3 games. Oh, no, hang on. All right, we're good. Wow, that's a weird noise. That was good. That was good. It's just a chug. You know how you feel after you chug. Whew.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
You can get a little lightheaded doing that.
Yeah, right? That was good, though. Oh, I feel a big burp coming, but that's okay.
I'm going to sit down with a twisted tea half and half and just enjoy myself during this game.
There you go. You just got to relax during the game. That's what I'm going to tell people.
Relax.
You know, just relax. So, anyways, let's go to the final thoughts. Joel, go ahead.
Final thoughts. Well, I kind of gave it away a little bit. I don't feel that the Cubs are going to carry 3 catchers by the time the trade deadline is over. Someone's going to go, and I think Martin Maldonado is the guy. He has been fine, but completely ineffective with the bat. He is a good defensive guy, and I think you can get something out of him. He does provide value for a team, and that's going to be something that the Cubs, I think they acquired him with an eye to the trade deadline to maybe try and flip him. So it'll be exciting to see what Jed and Theo do over the next 16 hours, 18 hours, and whatever ends up happening, the Cubs are still going to be in first place or near it at the start of August. So as long as you're within the game, you got a chance, and the Cubs certainly do.
Very true. Very true. My final thought is simple. Relax. Chipper says relax. Hashtag Chipper says relax. And I'm not, yeah, hashtag. That was weird. That was okay. I like that, though. I'm going to start using that. And I'm not saying because I think the Cubs are going to win the division. I'm saying because I need to relax. Everybody needs to relax. We get so frustrated with this team, especially in that Milwaukee series. I know that I went to bed after Kimbrel gave up those home runs. Angry. Absolutely mad. Angry. And for what? Why was I so mad? That's what you have to think. You can be disappointed. You can be frustrated. But the second you turn that TV off, just let it be, folks. Just let it be. Okay? I know. I get it. I absolutely get it. But don't let it ruin your day. Don't let it ruin your week. Okay? It's just, and that's what happened to me. I let them overcome my emotions even after the game, 30 minutes, 15 minutes after the game. And I know a lot of you do. So I'm just telling you, not only does hashtag Chipper says relax apply to the actual, division lead, making playoffs and stuff like that, but it also applies to if the Cubs lose. Just relax. It's okay. It will be okay. I promise. The Cubs are the better team in the National League Central. The Cubs are going to win this division. I still have no doubt in my mind about that one. So let this happen. Let the trade deadline happen. Be more excited about what's going to happen tomorrow than what's going to happen tonight in the game. Be more excited about the trade deadline than actually worrying about what's going to happen these next 3 games. That's my final thought.
Good one.
I think it's simple. It's simple. Hashtag Chipper says relax. Anyways, that's it for us, folks. Game's about to start. Follow us on Twitter at the Ivy Boys. Follow me on Twitter at ChipperStrike3, just the number 3. Follow Joel on Twitter at Fry Sports Radio. Like us on Facebook. Like and subscribe to this YouTube page, please. That would be awesome. The more viewers we get, the more subscribers and stuff like that, we can take that to businesses, and we're looking for sponsors. So if we get more viewership, we can say, hey, look, people are watching our show. They like it. They're interacting. Would you like to be a sponsor? Or if you are listening and you want to be a sponsor, that'd be awesome too. You can contact me at ChipperStrike3, again, just the number 3 at gmail.com, and we can talk about you becoming a sponsor. The rates and everything like that, trust me, we are not expensive at all. You can see how well we're doing with Rebecca Lewis. I know she's my mom, but she can tell you right now that it has helped. She has seen a boost of people calling and going to the website. And that was her main thing. It was about the website, RebeccaSellsDreams.com. She's seeing action on her website strictly because of this podcast. So if you want that for your business and you want me to go ahead and talk about an ad, talk about your business, or Joel, talk about your business, we'll do it. Be a sponsor. That's all we're asking. We want to give you great merch like this hat that I'm wearing, or the shirts that Bob Marufo makes of BobMarufo.com, who runs our website, who also makes all our stuff. We want to be able to give that to you, but we can't do that without another sponsor. So that's where we are there. Go to our website. See Joel's blogs. You'll see them. You like the way they're amazing, of course. If you like the way our website looks, you know the drill. Go to Bound. You know Bob. If you've been listening for a while now, you know who Bob Marufo is of BobMarufo.com. He will create anything. He does the logos for this show. He does the stuff for our hats, the shirts, everything. Bob is great. Bob will give you exactly what you're thinking of. Not what you're saying, but exactly what you're thinking it should look like. Bob will do that. And then if you're looking for something like this page, him and Vince will do it. I had a thought exactly what I wanted this to look like. They took it and made it happen. I didn't even explain it very well because I don't. But it's like they got in my head and knew exactly what I wanted, and that's what we have right now. So if you like that, contact Bob. He will take you through exactly what you need, if anything, when it comes to logos and things like that. Also, check out their website, Beyond the Cube, the best podcast in the 815. That's Beyond the Cube. You can find it anywhere: iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Store, TuneIn. I think they have their own website. I know they have a Twitter at Beyond the Cube. Again, Beyond the Cube, the best podcast in the 815. Bob, we're still waiting for that invite for me and Joel to come on. So That needs to happen. Anyways, folks, that is it for us. We appreciate the support, and we will see you next episode. Oh, like and subscribe to this YouTube page. Please, again, please do that. Go, Cubs, go.